Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fierce Awakenings book cover reveal party. We've made it. We are, all of us on the screen are authors who are publishing a book on September 21st called Fierce Awakenings, calling in courage and confidence to walk life's spiral path. And I'm Jen Balco, the lead author of the group. And I want to just acknowledge how far we've all come. It's just a short way of introducing the project and the book. I got some weird calling a few years ago while I was on a train, and it's this wind that whispers to me every once in a while, and it said, "You got to gather up the women." I'm like, what are you talking about, gather? And I was really reluctant to hear this because I thought I was already gathering up the women. I was doing a conference and I was doing circles and exploring different ways of being in the world with women. But the call continued, and I was like, what do you mean the women? I'm like, it's a book. Don't you see it? I'm like, no, I don't. And I didn't want to see it for a while because I know that it's a really big undertaking to do a collaborative book project. And I was nervous about it. And it took me months to actually understand that this was the call that was mine to take now. So last year, I signed a contract with Red Thread Publishing, Red Thread Books, if you're looking for them on Instagram. And Sierra Meckler and I had a long conversation about doing a collaborative book. And I signed the contract. And then I sat on it for a couple months. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, we're really doing this. So in January of this year, I started to call women in. And the women in this group started to call other women in. And by March, we were a group of 12 women starting a journey to write a book, to tell a little piece of our stories in a way that's meaningful and impactful for ourselves, but more that's meaningful and impactful, we hope, for all the readers who are meant to see this book and read this book and hear all the words that are meant to be heard in this moment when they need it the most. This is a book about fierce awakenings. I'm going to talk a little bit about what fierce awakenings are. But for me, this is one of my most proudest moments, gathering with the women in this room and the women who are not with us today, but with us very much in heart, the other co-authors that are part of this group. Going from a point of not knowing how this was all going to work out to actually having a physical book in my hand, one of the first print proofs, and I'm waiting for the next print proof to come, and seeing how every woman in our group has grown from this experience has been one of the most heart-filling things I've ever taken on. So I'm glad there was this call. I'm glad you all answered it. I'm glad everybody who's in this room with us right now and not on screen, who's part of this journey with us, know, like, I just hope you all know how meaningful this really is. And I hope our spiral path continues in so many different ways and overlaps with lots of other spiral paths. By the way, this is a necklace I bought years ago. I don't know if you can see it. I almost forgot that I had it. And it's a spiral path. Somewhere, even though this call came all together basically this year, somewhere in my higher self, this has been something I've been working towards without even knowing it. So I just wanted to acknowledge them. And acknowledge all of you. So it's going to take a minute, and I'm going to introduce all of our co-authors. Some of them aren't here with us. It's hard to coordinate people on a global calendar. We are a global group, pretty diverse group. We have someone in the Emirates who's just on her way from moving back to the US. I'm in Europe near Barcelona. And the rest of the co-authors are scattered around every corner of the US. So finding a time that works is difficult, but We are here on August 8th using the Lionsgate portal energy with the alignment of Earth and Orion and Sirius and Leo, and really taking on our courage and confidence to be here as authors, some of us for the first time. So just as I call you individually and alphabetically by last name, just come on for a second and say hi. And if you want, you could take a second to introduce yourself in any way you want. Look good today. Oh, and Gisette just came in, so she's one of our other co-authors. Let me just get her in the room. See her up as well. And she's Josette. Hi. Hold on, I need to find you to spotlight you. If you don't mind being spotlighted. For some reason, I cannot spotlight her. Oh, here you are, because now you're on with us, Josette.
Sorry, I was on another meeting and I realized I'm on my work Zoom, so sorry.
That's okay. We were just at the point where we were going to introduce the co-authors. So we're glad you're here. I'm just going to go alphabetically and through the list. And when your name is called, unmute yourself, say hello, and if you'd like, introduce yourself in a little,
Sure.
in any way you want. Okay, Joseph?
Thank you.
All right, here we go.
So cute. Let me mute my.
All right. So I'm Jen Balco. I already said that. And it goes next to Shauna Burkholder. Shauna.
Hello, everyone. As Jen said, my name is Shauna Burkholder. I live in Seattle, Washington. It is my honor to be part of this group of beautiful souls. And since my fierce awakening, my path has taken me to helping other women move through their fierce awakenings.
Thank you, Shauna. Nicole Fabian isn't here right now, but we just want to say hello to Nicole and Nicole's behalf. Nicole's traveling with her family, so that's August, you know. Next up, Roxana Figueroa. I always stumble on your name, Roxy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Roxana, and I'm a sound alchemist. And I weave different modalities that I've learned: functional medicine, coaching, embodiment coaching, meditation, all together, body, mind, and spirit, because they're all intertwined and connected. And I am this alchemist that helps other men, women, they, all other people transform and take the next step. So thank you.
Thank you, Roxy. Kathy Gates is up next, but she's not with us. So we just do a wave and a shout out for Kathy. She's with us on this journey as well. And then we're going over to Sarah Hoskins. Sarah, come over and say hello.
Hi, everyone. It is so good to be here and to be a part of this project. I have been a pilgrim of the spiral path for many years now, so to be a part of this project was just the natural next step for me. And I really feel that who I am is that pilgrim to invite and guide women onto the spiral path and to really step into the unknown and to embrace their feminine essence and to, just like Roxy said, take the next step into our creative and authentic lives. So it's wonderful to be here.
Thanks, Sarah. And then we go over to Ellison James.
Hi, I'm Ellison. I'm so happy to be here. I'm from the Seattle area also. This is such an exciting project and such a powerful, magical group of women. And this whole experience has been a fierce awakening for me, one more. And I'm excited to be calling in the crones and the soon-to-be crones to reinvent what aging means, that we get to choose.
Thank you, Allison. April Lee is next, and she's gonna be with us today. So we're just gonna shout out to April. So April, thanks for being part of our group. And then that brings us to Josette. Josette Mills, come on over.
hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Mills, and I show up in the midlife fulfillment coach space for women. My goal is to make sure that they embrace midlife and menopause from a freedom, fulfillment, and fun space. And to all my previous authors that went, I didn't want to come off mute and make a noise, but I need to, for all of the beauty that's been birthed through this project. And just the patience that everybody has for everyone in the space everyone holds. So thank you so much. I'm excited for the women to get the book in their hands. Yeah.
Thank you, Josette. I'm excited here too. I'm glad you could make it. And that brings us over to Wendy Peterman.
Hello, it's good to see you and good to be seen this morning. I'm Wendy Peterman, and I help neurodiverse women who are experiencing overwhelm or masking fatigue to relax and feel a sense of belonging through connecting with nature.
Thank you, Wendy. And now we're over to Susan. Susan Smith.
Hey everyone, Susan Smith, and I think I've done several fierce awakenings. I'm afraid to say, getting ready to go on another fierce awakening after living in the United Arab Emirates for 18 years. I'm going back to the United States. I created a foundation called Speak Trauma, and with the foundation, I teach documentary workshops. And the idea behind the workshops is to teach others documentary skills so they can tell their own stories. And I hope to continue doing that when I get back to the United States in about a week. Thanks.
Thank you, Susan. And that brings us to Joanna Lynn Steffel. Go ahead, Joanna.
Hello, beautiful people and lovely souls. It's Joanna Steffel here. I'm coming in from a small town in Northwest Ohio, and I self-identify as a queer Catholic mystic, and I help others to be their weirdo self, to be their, embrace their just authenticness and being in their creative spirit. So I'm here for all the weirdos and all the ones who feel have been outcast. You know, we're just gonna be our fabulous selves today.
Thank you, Joanna. And this is just for all of you. Like, you got a paddle or a heart, just like, let's celebrate each other. This is one of the things I love about the work I do now, is to gather with all women. I am a mindful writing mentor and helping people discover their stories. So thank you for coming on this journey and discovering your own and sharing it with the world. Which brings me to the question, what is a fierce awakening for you? How has it shaped your journey on the spiral path? I'll answer and then we'll popcorn around the room for a minute. So a fierce awakening for me, I spent a lot of time thinking about this, but a fierce awakening for me is more than the aha moment. There's that aha moment when you know you are being called to something. But for me, what a fierce awakening really is when you are willing to follow that call. You actually come into the space and want to invent it, and that you keep moving through it even though you have no idea what's coming around the next curve, that you have no idea what the outcome is going to be, and that you just know it's yours for the taking and for the doing and for the receiving in whatever way it shows up. And I think that's been my guiding mantra for a really long time without me consciously knowing. I think I've made every important decision in my life because of that aha moment and the willingness to give it a go. They've not all been successful. and that's the way life is. But the ones that have been meaningful have been significant. And that's what it means now, especially in this moment as we're rounding another curve. I have no idea what's going to happen with this book. None. No idea where it's going to go, how far it's going to go, who's going to read it. But all we are right now is in the step of announcing it to the world that we're doing. And that's where I'm happy to be with all of you. So. All right, Josette, I see your wand over there. I'm going to bounce this over to you.
Thanks for sharing that, Jen. It felt so heartfelt, and I resonate with so much of that. When I saw the post that said the book cover release, it was like more real, right? And then it just helped me further endorse that I'm no longer fighting for my excuses to hide, right? And it's real, it's coming. And so that is what impeded the journey of releasing that fierce awakening for me, so that I can show up and not let it be another thing that I do and hide. Yeah, for sure. And I want to hear what Miss Ellison got to tell us over there.
Thank you, Josette. I always love the reminder to quit hiding, because it's so easy to do that and pretend that we're not. So as I think about fierce awakenings, I think it's the fuel of a spiral path, that it's like spirit comes down, grabs you by the shoulder, shakes you and says, I'm not kidding around. This is time for you to do what you're supposed to be doing. And I think that whether we're on a path by default, just asleep, or whether we're on the path we're supposed to be and veer off a little, or whether our path needs to turn, I think the fierce awakenings are the course corrections. And then you're going along, and then it's time to make another course correction. And a fierce awakening comes, and you keep going up and up and around and around. And it's fueled. Those are like the curves, are the little fierce awakenings. And they need to propel us upward, so they're fierce. And I am going to pass the talking stick to Shauna.
Thank you, Ellison. Thank you for that wisdom. What I suspect is we're all going to hear similar themes for what fierce awakening means. And for me, what I recognize is I've had many, and now I'm expecting more to be coming. And fierce can be that take you by the shoulders and shake you and say, come on, do what you're supposed to do. Or sometimes they come in whispers. Sometimes we listen to those whispers, and oftentimes we don't. And then it ends up kind of escalating to being that moment. One of the things I want to share is how much I love the imagery of the spiral, because as I think of moving from the center outwards, it means I'm growing and I'm expanding and I'm moving outside of my comfort zone, and I'm laying a new path in my life. But I also see fierce awakenings as being the spiral where we go internally, where we go deep, deep inside, and we listen to our intuition. We connect with our source energy. We assess who we are and what we're meant to do, the gifts we have, and we share them. So sometimes I think we need to go deep into that spiral before we can come out again. And that, for me, as Jen had alluded to, the action part is maybe the awakening is the listening, and then the action of the fierce is the coming out of and taking action on what we believe and what we know is true for us. So with that, I am going to pass the baton over to Wendy.
Thank you, Shauna. I was hoping you would pass it to me because I loved everything you were saying about whispering and introspection and intuition. For me, when I think about fierce awakenings, like Jen said, there's a lot of putting one step in front of the other and just showing up and continuing on the path. But it's those moments of quiet reflection and looking back at other points and noticing, when you come to a similar place in your path that where you've been before, and just noticing how differently you're handling it or how different I am. And sometimes I look back on a person that I was at in a similar place and I don't even relate to that person anymore. And it's those moments of realizing how far I've come and how much I've changed and grown, and how I'm handling this thing so differently that feels like that quiet, introspective, fierce awakening to me. And I'm going to pass it to Sarah.
Thanks, Wendy. I guess what I'm hoping is that whatever I say here will be a weaving of everybody's comments, because I just love what everybody's been saying. So thank you all. So may I just continue on that spiral path that we're creating with our responses here. So for me, as I was thinking about this question and what is fierce awakening, for me, it's about really opening and surrendering into the unknown unknown. And for me, that unknown is what we don't know, what we don't know. It's such a magical space. It's where the magic really is. And so when we can listen, receive, and be with that, and then open and surrender to it and take that next step, that for me, it's like sacred action when we move into, because it requires such trust of letting go of what we know. It requires, I think the deepest connection into ourselves, because taking that next step can radically change our lives in ways we don't even know. And so for me, that's where the ferocity comes in, right? That we have to be willing to do that and to open to what's next. And sometimes we're very alone in those moments. And sometimes we're part of a group and a community and a collective. But it just feels like that's what we as souls are being asked to do, is to be willing to awaken, to be fierce with ourselves and with receiving what Spirit intends for us, to trust that each of us has, whatever that is. We have what it takes to take that next step. So thank you. So with that, I'm going to choose Roxy. Here's to you.
Thank you, Sarah. That really resonated with me so deeply, because I really feel that also. I really feel that awakenings for me have been different reiterations of myself on this spiral journey, right? But a fierce awakening for me is really embodying myself. As Sarah said, going inward, really trusting, surrendering, and releasing, and taking that next step, and going and trusting and going inwards in that spiral, maybe coming out and going inwards and going out, and trusting that Source Spirit has led you on this path. You are fully embodying this path. And I feel that all of us have been on this journey together, fiercely awakening together. And I hope that the readers know when they are reading each chapter that they aren't alone and we're all with them on this path. And I will pass it to Joanna.
Hello again. When I think of fierce awakening, even in just like reading the description for this book, I felt this full body fire. That's what the fierceness part of a fierce awakening feels for me. It's like this whole body, even though my mind might be saying no, my whole body's saying yes. And I like to highlight that piece of the unknown. Really embracing that the unknown is not something to fear, something that we get to explore on the journey. And it is just a matter of one step at a time, one yes at a time. But I really, one of the big quotes that's part of my life is from St. Catherine of Siena, who says, "Be who you're meant to be and you set the world on fire." And I really feel like this is who I'm meant to be in this current moment, an author being part of this beautiful journey unfolding. And we'll see, like Jen says, where it takes us and where it goes. But I knew I had to say yes, even though a big part of me was like, oh, but you know, it's that boldness that comes from choosing to embrace the unknown, I think, that really highlighted with that being, that's the difference between an awakening and a fierce awakening for me. And then finally, Susan.
Wow. I'm soaking in everything that everyone said. Oh my goodness. I think I've got a few years on everybody. I think I've had several different kinds of fierce awakenings, and I'm hearing that a lot of you are talking about different kinds. And I had one where I never questioned anything. I just did it. It felt mentally and spiritually exactly what I should do. And it was crazy because it was totally into the unknown. That was coming over here with 2 suitcases and a granddaughter to raise at a new job that I'd never worked at before, in a country that was completely different than the US. And I absolutely never questioned one thing about going. Then I've had other fierce awakenings where I just went mentally one step after another. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. But there was a part of me that was like, wow, am I doing? And where am I going? And where is this leading? And one of the things I discovered is that there will come a moment on this spiral path where you don't know why you're doing it. You're just doing it. And you're doing it and you're collecting everything along the way. And then all of a sudden you'll go, ah, this is why I did this. This is everything I've done to this point has led me to this place. And I am glad I took this journey. So I've had several different kinds of those where sometimes you just don't know what the heck you're doing, but you're doing it. And then that moment comes, wow. This is where everything has led me. Well, anyway, thanks, ladies. Thanks for all that.
Oh my God, you guys are amazing. I knew it all along. And with Susan's idea that it took us exactly to this moment, and this is why we're all doing it. Roxy, can I get a drum roll, please? Can we all unmute and give us a drum roll? This is our book cover!
Yeah.
Can you all see it? It's there.
Beautiful.
Hold on, let me move it over. There we all are on the spiral path. Fierce awakenings, calling, encouraging confidence to walk life's spiral path. This is just a proof. This is very, very, very close to the final print issue. And it's the very first one I saw when Sierra presented the book covers. This was the very first one that caught my eye. And the group, we had a handful of options, but this is the one that most of us really were gravitating towards. And it seems to speak to all of us. The inward journey coming in, it's like an iris, like an eye, electrifying, watery, all filled with all sorts of things, like all sorts of messages, and kind of spiraling out and beyond the cover even. Like it's spilling over to the back cover and expanding us in lots of ways. And just want to show you a different view of it. And it is going to be available on Amazon and at Barnes and Nobles, New England Spec, on September 21st. We have a pre-order starting. Pre-order starts September 16th, running for a few days there of yeah, September 16th to the 20th will be the pre-order period on Amazon, where we'll be selling the digital book first and pre-ordering the digital book. Information is going to be coming out about that, but this is how we're going to see it. It's a print, softcover print book on digital ebook. We don't have an audiobook yet. We'll see if that ever comes to being, but for now we have our new Fierce Awakens book out. So can I get another just like applause, drum roll, hearts, whatever we got handy?
So beautiful.
Hey, woohoo!
Comments. Everybody can unmute, even though co-authors, if you like it, just pop in with a cheer.
This is so beautiful.
Isn't it? Is it just
Congratulations.
Gorgeous.
here? Thank you. It's
Love
like
it.
like
Love
Josette
it.
said, it's like the reality of things coming together, right? When you have
Yes,
a book that's coming into life and you see the cover, and
yes.
stop the share because holding it in your hand is also something else.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Let me pin you. Hold on.
And
No,
the
I can't.
co-authors haven't yet received it. It's still being proofed. We are in the final stages of formatting for print.
Oh, awesome.
But I got this book a few weeks ago, actually with Jessica was in the room. We were at a writer's retreat up, hosted by Red Thread and Sierra up in Vermont. And this came in the mail. This is
Awesome.
so
It's really amazing. I can't wait for you all to hold your own versions.
Yes.
is
Yes.
Jessica. Well, and Roxy took this great initiative and printed the cover and put it on a book. So she's
Oh, wow.
ahead of us. And
Wanted to feel it. So, even though it's not, I know that it's all been written. So I just wanted to feel it and look at it.
I love that.
it is, and you guys will have it really
That's a
soon.
good idea, Roxy. Thank you.
Yeah. It had occurred to me when we were doing the recordings and Roxy had that great idea. So now you guys can go ahead and do that for the next few weeks. We have a whole bunch of
Yes.
official kickoff of our marketing and asking for support to help buy our book and
Mhm.
do Amazon reviews. So you'll be seeing a lot more about this out in the world. And we're going to start with, we're going to give you a little teasers of our books. And everybody's going to read an excerpt. It's about a minute, maybe one of the ones you picked for the videos or some new one, but we're going to do
Hey
this.
Jen, I am gonna have to jump off a hard 10 or a hard 20 minutes. I just want to say how a huge accolades to you all. You all worked so beautifully together, and I've seen and met many of you through the Red Thread journey. And watching this come to fruition and getting to be here and getting to witness it is just so fantastic. I'm so proud of you all, and I cannot wait to hold it in my hand. So I'm going to stay on, but I'm going to mute myself and then jump off in 20 minutes. So
Okay.
love you all.
Jessica, and just an acknowledgement to you. Thank you for being one of our first fans and for being such a great support network. And really
Yes.
to all of the Red Thread writers, it's been amazing to be part of the Red Thread community and to feel like the joy of that, to be in the group with you and to just be part of that experience, right? So thank you. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being here as we kind of explore this next phase. And Jessica, I haven't asked for you to help us with some some of this as we move forward. We'll be in touch on that for sure. But as we're kind of and anybody, if you all have to jump off before that, that's fine. I just want to acknowledge everybody in the room and thank you for being here as we go into our excerpts and give everybody that freedom to pop in and out as you need to. But I want to just acknowledge something that Molly wrote. And wow, what an incredible group of women, so inspired to be among you all and to hear a little glimpse into your journey. She's got to sign off, but thanks for the uplifting sharing. And really beautiful. Congratulations. Thank you, JJ. It's like a sonogram, Joanna says. Yep, beautiful. And congratulations from Colleen. So thank you everybody for being with us on this journey. And now we're going to do our excerpts in chapter order. Sarah is the brave one that starts off our book. We do have two long distance walkers in the room, Sarah and myself. Walkers among us all, but like long distance, many hours and kilometers and days and weeks walking. And as I came to know that about us, the book very much becomes a walk through the book. And each of the chapters are set up. They're independent chapters, but they're all set up to be sort of a journey that it is like a descent and then a rising. So even though we're using the spiral path, there is an order to this, and it's the ebb and flow of life. It's the long walk. So Sarah walks us into the book. So Sarah, let me just spotlight you again. And let me mute myself. And when you're ready, take a breath and read your excerpt, chapter 1.
The spiral path. As a busy and involved wife and daughter and mother of 4 children, I had lost my way in the midst of my responsibilities, roles, and busyness. I had forgotten that as a woman, all I had to do was go within to touch the divine. I needed an opportunity to step out of my normal everyday life. I wanted an external experience to activate and remind me of what always and already existed within me. And to heal this separation I felt deep within my being. Walking sacred pilgrimage became that opportunity. To walk a spiral path is actually a feminine pilgrimage. We do not need to walk far or fast. Rather, we are called on and reminded to walk slowly, deliberately, and deeply wherever we are. While this spiral path and these sacred sites have actually provided me with the map and the pathway I needed to connect with my true self, the spiral path is actually available for all of us, both within and outside of ourselves. It is both an inner and an outer journey, accessible simply through the asking.
Thank you, Sarah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Chapter 2. Sorry, let me just start by saying Sarah's chapter is the spiral path. Perfect as an opening chapter. Shauna, Journeys to Wholeness, chapter 2. Take a breath, let me spotlight you. And when you're ready, tell us your story.
Without being tied to a job or relationship, I realized I could live anywhere I wanted. I was free to move, but where? I had no idea. So rather than buying another house or renting an apartment, I put all of my belongings in storage. The idea to travel came when I read this statistic in a long forgotten blog post. The average adventure traveler is no longer a 28-year-old male, but a 47-year-old female, and she wears a size 12. I found a reason that got me up and moved me forward. Yes, I was jobless, spouseless, and homeless. Yet instead of fear, I felt free. There were no more outside influences to distract me. Each mile I pushed forward left the stressed out, unfulfilled person I was in my wake. With each town and experience, I grew braver and I felt a renewed sense of purpose. When I looked up into the rearview mirror, it was with the resolve that I would not repeat past mistakes. The road ahead held the hope and promise of a fulfilling life.
Bravo, Shauna. Bravo. Chapter 3, The Sacred Pause. Joanna, give me a second. Take a breath. When you're ready.
I had not let this detour in my life even really set in yet. I was in crisis management mode, making decisions right and left out of sheer necessity. Ugh, the pain drugs are starting to wear off, and so is my patience. I asked if we can pull over in Lyons, Ohio, at the convenience store for a snack and a drink. Now, this is not just any convenience store or pit stop. Lyons is my mother's hometown, a midway point. The convenience store was the original site of my grandfather's car dealership, and across the street was my grandparents' house. Here was a safe space, a sacred holding space. I let my parents go on a fool's errand to hunt for provisions to provide me comfort. But a deeper solace came from being in this place where my family once gathered. While staring at the droplet of water falling down from the window, I was alone. I was ready to release the tears that I had bravely held back until this moment. They began to pour just like the skies above already had. I've always found it easier to cry when the heavens do too. That dam had been broken. I screamed and bawled and cursed God and thought that this was my turn to have something work out.
Thank you, Joanne. Chapter 4, pulling the plug on people pleasing. She was at 7. When you're ready.
Taking the time to rediscover what I wanted for myself, what can bring fulfillment to me, meant I had to repeatedly go within and continually get reacquainted with myself, experiencing and exploring ways to enhance my self-love muscle and to be more kind to myself, developing better ways to communicate with myself, adopting principles and habits that offered self-regulation, became a new daily practice and what is now my lifelong endeavor. This allowed me to also have better conversations with others, to actually be present in the exchange of conversation, and peak in my curiosity for what was possible by exploring, testing, setting boundaries that also impacted my decision-making and outcomes were extremely important to me. I truly had to release what was in order to create capacity for what I truly desired. And tapping into my inner knowing and honoring my worth were key components. I knew I wanted to unapologetically create space and inner peace for the life I was working towards. And I spent time envisioning my desires and connecting with them, my personal cook making my meals, my bedroom view of the ocean, a few steps to the beautiful beach, that wraparound terrace, and having my driver escort me wherever my heart thinks of, coupled with financial freedom to help as many people that I desired to do in the blink of an eye. Yes, yes.
Thank you very so much. Now we go to allowing grief and listening for love. Chapter 5. Oh, did I say that right? Chapter 5. Hang on one second. Whenever you're ready.
Growing up, my mother's daughter wasn't easy. My mom was a clever opportunist with narcissistic tendencies and a loud and boisterous personality. She never had money, so she was always asking or manipulating people into giving her some. We moved every 1 to 2 years and never had a stable home. My mom often left us unattended for days at a time with my eldest sister in charge, and eventually she left for good. My mother was deeply religious but struggled with values and authority. While belief in God was her number one value, she would routinely change churches if they didn't meet her expectations or values. I used to joke that she changed churches as often as she changed husbands. Once my mother realized she would not become a missionary teacher, she became a substitute teacher and ultimately a caregiver for her parents. She did the best she could with the tools she was given, but we, as her children, suffered through poverty and endured childhood mental and physical abuse, neglect, and abandonment. On my own path, I had developed my coping mechanism of escape at a young age, not wanting to feel or embody the pain, the loneliness, and the sorrow. I learned to build a shell around my heart like a turtle to protect the little brown-skinned girl who felt way too much. When I discovered booze as a teenager, I drank to escape my pain and stayed on this path for quite some time, while simultaneously searching for my purpose. Even through the haze, I knew that I was here to contribute to the healing of the world.
Thank you, Roxy. Move on to Nicole. How I found one boy. Nicole is not with us today, so let me just grab her. Let me just grab her here. One second. I'm just going to do 1 second. It's asking me to go somewhere to get help. How I found one boy. Oh, I'm sorry, it's asking me to go somewhere else, not to the folder that I have open. So, okay. Chapter 6. Nicole Bailey.
To this day, the word data sits like a sour bubble in my throat when I say it. The question of why data is more important than following my intuition and gut feeling of what a student really needed will cast a shadow over my grief and make me doubt myself, my teaching abilities, and the entire education system for years to come.
Nicole. And now we are chapter 7, Wendy's paradigm shift, my neuroatypical journey to self-awareness. Give me 1 second to spotlight you, Wendy. When you're ready, it's all yours.
This unstructured, holographic way of thinking is the result of my neurouniqueness, otherwise known as autism spectrum disorder. People don't usually believe I am on the autism spectrum. You're too friendly, they say, or autistics don't have empathy like you do. Those who do believe me say I would never be able to tell. And my usual response is, that's because you don't understand autism. The truth is, my autism isn't about your experience of me. It's about my experience of me. It's common for women on the autism spectrum to evade diagnosis by camouflaging as neurotypical people whose brains function in ways considered typical within our culture. In fact, camouflage exhaustion is becoming a pandemic for adult female autistics. Only by looking back at our childhoods can signs of autism be identified. To me, childhood was characterized by a rich fantasy life. My mind was always full of pictures, my body effervesced with the intense feelings like joy, fascination, and curiosity, especially in nature. I could read fluently and do basic math problems before entering kindergarten just from hanging out with books and my parents. I thought my vivid, deeply immersive experience of life was normal. It's only when I started to hear the reactions of the adults in my world that I learned that I was anything but normal, and they had worn themselves out trying to make me so.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you. Now we have chapter 8, From Life's Fire to Life's Gifts with Kathy Gates. Kathy's not here, so we're going to play one of her clips. Like that.
My body and mind were flooded with stories, moments, burdens, and emotions that I was weighed down with. I could feel them rising up inside of me, ready to offer themselves to the fire. But wait, like a lash of a whip, my thinking brain kicked in. What am I doing? Am I really going to do this? What if I get burned? What would I tell people? Oh, I thought I could walk across hot coals. I heard my mother's voice say, surely you are smarter than that. Am I? I breathed a long, ragged breath.
Kathy. And next up is chapter 9 from April. April's not with us today, but we have a clip for her as well. So you guys are seeing the clips okay, right? Coming through okay? April's.
I grew up with a sense of mystery and unspoken intensity surrounding my existence in the family. I didn't understand my role or why my grandparents were raising me instead of my parents. I lived in a state of confusion, never truly understanding my life circumstances.
April. Then we have Searching for the American Dream, chapter 10, with Susan. Give me a second, Susan. Whenever you're ready.
Mute myself. It was a typical muggy Oklahoma summer day with the mercury exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit and heat waves bouncing off the pavement. Driving down Tulsa's Yale Avenue, there are two traffic lights, one right after another, a block apart. The first light was green, but I went through the second light, a red light, without stopping. To my horror, I drove smack into the side of a police vehicle, wrecking it but hurting no one. What I remember most about hitting the police car was not the utter shock and stupidity of the crash or the annoying man, adrenaline pumping, yelling at me about how fast I was going, or the local news crews who arrived at the scene to spread images of the wreck. What I told the policeman when he asked me what had happened is forged in my mind. Aware of the utter ridiculousness of my situation, I muttered, looking him squarely in the eyes without hesitating, I'm upset about the US war in Iraq. The policeman walked away, noting my name in his little pad and not raising an eyebrow or questioning my response. The crash pushed me to my limits. My poverty was stifling. I felt ashamed because I couldn't lift myself by my bootstraps, the American way of advancement. The 9/11 climate of hate towards the Middle East further ignited my anger, and within me brewed a furious contempt for US policies. I was stuck. I don't belong here. How had I gotten to this point? what was wrong with me. I needed a different view.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you. Chapter 11, Allison Crone, Learning to Dance with Death. Give me a second. Take a breath, and when you're ready, Allison.
Crone is really about learning to dance with life and death. Through all the experiences of life, its greatest joys, its greatest sorrows, we learn to build our capacity to hold the intensity of our feelings. In this, we become a giant container to hold incredible space for others, especially those we love. This is the root of our wisdom, and it's hard-earned. I write this to invite you to look at aging and death through a different lens than is traditional in our modern culture. We are not less desirable or valuable as we age. The dictionary defines crone as a withered, ugly old woman. I call bullshit on that. The word crone comes from crown, and I say yes, we are old women wearing the crown of wisdom. We are sovereign. Ladies, we are all on the same path. Welcome to the path of crone. Like it or not, you bought the ticket just by being born, and the only way off is death. In the meantime, let's step out of our marinade and put on our crowns and dance with life.
You, Allison. And I'm going to walk us out of the book with chapter 12, The Wind That Whispers to Me. What's wrong with me, with us? Why do we have to do this? What are we trying to prove? I sigh and wait for the answer. A soft breeze catches the night and a tiny, quiet voice passes through me. Look up. I tilt my head back and the tears slowly come again. This time, they are tears of wonder, awe, and joy. I stand absolutely still, thumbs hooked around my backpack straps, and the sky is lit with more stars than I have ever seen in my entire life. The creamy band of the Milky Way holds my breath. When I remember to exhale, the voice returns. Do you see it now? I wait for my own answer. Yes, I do. I say out loud with renewed confidence. A flash of memory connects me to my 5-year-old self at the stop sign, the little girl who knew life called to her. I'm so willing to be here and do this absurd thing because I am part of all of this. I am part of the intricate, beautiful web life is always weaving. Yes, and I hear as another almost unperceivable breeze caresses my cheeks. I pause and ponder, and then I know. The knowing fills my body and I stand up a little taller. Oh, I'm a weaver. Knowing the profound human experience of being part of creating all there is, all there was, and all that will be, keeps my eyes fixed on the sky. I take a long, slow inhale. I want to linger. I want to cherish everything about this fleeting moment. But there's still work to do. There's more life to live. And that's who we are, the co-authors of Fierce Awakenings.
Whoa.
Congratulations to all of us. We do have some announcements and we'll just open this up for a brief reflection. I'm going to share with you a website that we are creating. It is on the alwaysonmyways.com site under the Fierce Awakenings book. There are a couple links that are still not active. We're still creating them. We're still in the flow of creating this next stage, but you know, this in a link. It's always on my way.com/fierce-awakenings book. And we're still creating some of that. That's there right now, but you can sign up and get some updates. We are launching the book on September 21st. We are asking our friends and our support team to help us do well on Amazon on launch day on September 21st. Our pre-order period is September 16th to the 20th. There'll be lots of news coming. We do have author events coming up, and one of the big ones that all of the co-authors will be participating in is the Fierce Awakened Woman 2023 Creativity Jam, happening October 12th to October 16th. There will be more information about that coming in early September, but mark your calendars. It is new moon in Libra and solar eclipse weekend, and it is all about tales from the spiral path, creating the next step, gathering the information you need to create life as an adventure, and then really connecting your body to the onward journey from there. So you'll have a chance to meet all of the co-authors. There will be a virtual book party on Thursday, October 12th, tied to the conference. And you'll have chances to learn more about each of the co-authors. They will be each guiding a session in their area of expertise or having a conversation about life on the spiral path. So with that, I'm just going to open it up for any thoughts, reflections, any awakenings that happened in this last hour and 10 minutes. Unmute yourself if you have anything to say.
I have a marketing question. I don't know, it's kind of boring and everything, but I did have somebody else who sells books wanting to know if they could put our book on their platform, and I have no idea how that would happen. So maybe we can text about it or something. But
yeah, Susan, I'll let me give a think on that. And
okay,
I'll talk
thanks.
about that. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. People who want to sell our books, always welcome. It's always a good thing. So, any thoughts about the cover, about the stories, about the journey from here on? We are, I think, 5-6 weeks away from publishing for real, for real.
I just want to say that this is another path, right? Another spiral for me of speaking out, of being seen, of utilizing my voice. And I am very, very proud to be on this journey with each and every one of you who bring a different flavor and a different journey, different perspective. And it just weaves so beautifully together. So thank you.
All right. If nobody else has anything else to say, Joanna, I'm going to turn it over to you. You always have a nice blessing at the end to send us off. If you don't mind.
Well, I'll share too. I don't think any of the ladies know this other than Jen, that I added our spiral after our first meeting online. So yeah, and I wanted to echo what Roxy said about just this journey of us gathering here together as co-authors and those who have gathered to witness us in this birthing process of the book, walking our spiral path, honoring our voice. It's in deepest gratitude for whoever witnesses this, whoever is touched and blessed by our book. May they hear the echoes of themselves and know that they are not alone as they journey through challenging moments, exciting moments, and everywhere in between. And then I will say peace and 10,000 blessings to everyone today and every day, and until our paths cross again. Namaste.